What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new football news video where we will talk about the European Premier League, which is essentially a European Super League. FIFA and the top clubs like Liverpool and Manchester United are in talks to form a FIFA-backed tournament which would ruin UEFA's Champions League. And let me know guys, what do you think about this? We will take a look at the details of what this is, what kind of tournament it is, and it could start as early as 2022, so just 2 seasons from now. And also we will take a look at what Wijnaldum and Jurgen Klopp said about Jordan Pickford's disgusting tackle on Van Dijk, and they had some very strong words, so stay tuned because in this video we will take a look at that later, so it's worth to listen to this video in full. So Liverpool and Manchester United are in talks for FIFA-backed tournament called European Premier League. Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City and Tottenham are also candidates to join a new European League, which is essentially like a Super League, which is backed by a $6 billion financial package, which is 4.6 billion pounds. Sky Sports and many news outlets like The Guardian and BBC Sport are reporting that more than a dozen teams from England, France, Germany and Italy and Spain are in negotiations about becoming founder members of the competition. As many as 5 English clubs could sign up to join it, with a provisional start date could be as early as 2022. And I think this is a huge power grab by the top clubs in Europe and also by FIFA, because sources have said that FIFA, football's world governing body, had been involved in developing this new format, which is expected to be 18 teams, and basically it will be a league season between these 18 teams, and the top placed teams in the league would then play in a knockout format to conclude the tournament, with prize money for the winners expected to be worth hundreds of millions of pounds each year. But I think this would ruin domestic competitions as well, because if in the Premier League the top 4 doesn't qualify for the Champions League because they get into the European Premier League just because of their name, just because Man United are Man United, no matter how low they finish in the Premier League, they will be in this European Super League anyway, then that would render the Premier League basically almost meaningless and almost like a development for the players, for the fringe players. And the main competition would be this European Super League, European Premier League. So I really don't like this idea, but that's just my opinion. So the details: Liverpool, Man United are in talks about joining this FIFA-backed tournament. 5 English clubs could sign up. So which English club from the top 6 misses out? Is it Arsenal? Is it Tottenham? Is it Man City? Is it even Chelsea? More than a dozen teams from England, France, Germany, Italy and Spain said to be in negotiations. But what about other countries' top teams? What about the champions of the Netherlands, for example, Ajax or PSV? I would hate it if those kind of clubs with a rich history and a rich heritage would miss out just because they are not like in the European elite anymore. And the Wall Street bank JP Morgan is in talks to provide the 4.6 billion pound in funding, and they are expected to be paid back from the TV revenue that these matches would generate. And the spokesperson said that official announcement will be made at the end of this month, and also a FIFA spokesperson said FIFA do not wish to comment and participate in any speculation about topics which could come up every now and then, and for which institutional structures and regulatory frameworks are well in place at national, European and global level. And this news just dropped a huge fresh bombshell into the fracturing landscape of English football, which has spent recent weeks, of course, in discussion over proposals engineered by Liverpool and Manchester United to hand even more power to the biggest clubs. Now this would hand more power to the biggest clubs on a European scale, on a world scale, and I don't like it at all. And because basically founding teams of this European Super League are set to earn a fee worth hundreds of millions, and I really have a problem with this European Super League. Basically the teams are getting there just because of their name, and yes, some teams are good enough to get in it, but I think it should be through the qualification of the league structure. So if you form a European Super League, it should replace the Champions League, not run alongside it, and it should still qualify so that, for example, the top 5 Premier League teams get in it, maybe the top 3 teams in Spain to get in it, or the top 4 in the Spain, the top 4 in Italy get in it, the top 3 in France. So basically it should be a format which runs as the Champions League tournament. But then I would hate to see smaller teams not be involved in this. I would hate to see teams like Ajax and other top teams not based on how good they are, just because they are not European elite, they won't be able to join this tournament. They won't be welcome. I don't really like that, to see that happening. I mean, even if the European Premier League is just 16 teams, it would require 30 matches just to complete the league season. And where do you fit in those 30 matches? Do you then just scrap the Champions League? But still, the Champions League, even if you get to the final, it's just 13 matches. So where do you find the time for that? Do you scrap the League Cup? Do you scrap the FA Cup and just play Premier League and this European Super League? I don't really understand this thinking of this idea. Where does it come from? Of course, it comes from big clubs being greedy and trying to get more money and more revenue for them. And what I find it very fascinating is UEFA's response has been very strong. UEFA opposes boring Super League. They said the UEFA president has made it clear on many occasions that UEFA strongly opposes a Super League. The principles of solidarity, of promotion, relegation and open leagues are non-negotiable. It is what makes European football work and the Champions League the best sports competition in the world. UEFA and the clubs are committed to build on such strength, not to destroy it, to create a Super League of 10, 12, even 24 clubs, which would inevitably become boring. Without UEFA's support, the new tournament would represent an incendiary move from FIFA that would undermine the European governing body principal annual revenue generating tournament. And there could be a lot of legal challenges to prevent this from getting off the ground, given the complexity of existing tournament agreements involving Europe's top club. And what if the top 6 move out of the Premier League and join this European Super League? Have you guys thought about that? The Premier League TV deal ends in like 2024. What if the Premier League, top 6 Premier League clubs say, we don't want to play in the Premier League anymore, we want to play in this European Super League? I mean, that would be the end of modern football as we know it, and I would hate to see that happening. And there was an earlier version of this current project which was reported by German news outlets, and that earlier version basically featured 11 founder teams and a number of guest teams. And what I find it staggering is that the founder clubs could not be relegated from this European Super League for 20 years, although the remaining teams would be subject to being replaced, relegated, depending on their league position at the end of the season. So imagine Man United join this European Super League and they can't get relegated from it for 20 years, no matter where they finish in the league, just because they are Man United. I mean, this is like the NBA, the NFL. We don't want that to happen to European football. I really love that there is promotion, relegation. It always freshens the leagues up every season, and also in the Champions League every year there are different teams in it. Because of football being unpredictable, we don't want a Super League where some teams just can't get relegated because of their name. And I'm saying that as a Liverpool fan. And this is very obvious that this is a move of hedge fund managers, venture capitalists trying to run European football like an American model, where there is no relegation, no promotion, the set leagues generate the most money, and it's basically a closed shop, and that we don't want that to happen to European football. Kevin Miles, the chief executive of the Football Supporters Association, said the idea of a European Super League shows that billionaire owners of clubs are out of control. The latest report, plots allegedly involve Man United and Liverpool to create a European Super League, exposed the myth that billionaire owners care about English football pyramid, or indeed anything other than money and their own greed. This has to be the last nail in the coffin of the idea that football can be relied upon to regulate itself. And the La Liga president Javier Tebas said the authors of that idea, if they really exist, because there is nobody actually defending it, not only show a total ignorance of the organization and customs of European and world football, but also a serious ignorance of the audio-visual rights market. A project of this type will mean serious economic damage to the organizers themselves and to those entities that finance it, if they exist, because they are never official. These underground projects only look good when drafted at a bar at 5 in the morning. Wow, what an analogy that is. So teams that are also heavily involved in the planning of this are Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus, Bayern Munich. You know, the usual suspects of the big clubs in European football. But I really like the Champions League as it is. I mean, last night, my city's team, Ferencváros, the champions of Hungary, first time met Barcelona, and first time they are playing in the Champions League in 25 years, and they will play Juventus as well. And that was just amazing to watch for me, that a Hungarian team coming up against Barcelona, against Messi, against the biggest players in the world. And that's what the Champions League is all about. And I don't want that taken away from these like so-called smaller clubs. And I mean, a few years ago when Leicester City won the Premier League and they competed in the Champions League, how amazing was that to see? And when this European Super League forms, even if a team like Leicester, Wolves or Newcastle or any other club wins the Premier League, they won't be able to compete in this European Super League, and I would hate that to happen. And I think it's very telling that FIFA and its current president Gianni Infantino are working on a revamped Club World Cup competition which could be played every 4 years, and it will be a tournament for 24 teams. And basically every winner of the previous like 4 Champions Leagues and potentially the 4 Europa League winners, as well as the winners of other like big continental competitions like the Copa Libertadores, the African Champions League, the Asian Champions League, and so on and so forth. And Infantino said in December that FIFA had 9 offers to take on and sell the new tournament's commercial rights. But this tournament will be played in June and July, basically every 4 years, when there is no World Cup, no European Championship, no Cup of America, no Confederations Cup. All the big teams, big players can come. So they are already working on a similar tournament. And Wijnaldum came out firing in the Ajax Liverpool pre-match press conference, saying the way Pickford went in for the challenge was completely stupid. Wijnaldum said Richarlison's tackle, horrendous on Thiago, was also a nasty one. Accidents happen in football, yes, you can be unlucky, but the way they did it was completely unacceptable. It makes it harder that they don't get punished. And it's no coincidence that Divock Origi, Mane, and now Thiago and Van Dijk were deliberately injured by Everton players in Merseyside derbies in recent years, and I fully support the idea that Pickford should get banned for a long time from football. But the FA said, and the Premier League said, that Pickford will not face any retrospective action because the referee and the VAR referee took a look at the incident, so they saw it and they gave absolutely nothing. Can you imagine how incompetent and how absolutely rubbish those are? And I'm not just saying, talking about David Coote, the VAR referee. Michael Overriver, who is supposedly the best referee in England, was like 5 or 10 yards away from the incident. He saw it, how Pickford absolutely annihilated Van Dijk's knee and ended his season and potentially ruined his whole football career, and he gave absolutely nothing. And that is staggering. I think that David Coote and Michael Oliver shouldn't referee another Premier League game for a long time, at least this year. They should be refereeing other competitions, championship games, League 1, League 2 games. And I really love that Wijnaldum didn't give some PR sugar-coated answer. He told it how it is, how he felt, and how basically every Liverpool fan feels right now after that horror tackle on Van Dijk. And what I think is very interesting, what Jurgen Klopp said about the situation. Yes, we went in the season with 3 centre-halves, Klopp said, plus Fabinho as a cover, plus young kids as a cover. That's usually quite a good number. As a football club, it's difficult to have 4 world-class centre-backs immediately on one side. It's pretty expensive, and for the other side, one of them doesn't play for a long time. That's pretty difficult because it's not a position you rotate so much, so it's a tricky one. You cannot have the solutions always before you have a problem. Yes, it's not perfect, for sure not. Joao Matip is not here as well, so that's not the perfect situation. But that's our situation and we have to deal with it. We will see how we react on it. We are still a little bit sensitive in the situation, which you are obviously not. That's exactly why in the moment we are in a completely different mood to you. The first question people ask, what are you doing now in the transfer market? And we just know since yesterday that our vice captain and the best centre-half in the world is not playing for us in the long time. We will see how long. And we will try to find solutions for the future, but I have no idea how they will look in this moment. Yes, you can understand, Jurgen Klopp is not planning the January transfer window right now. He's planning Liverpool's tactics for the Ajax game, and I can't wait. I honestly think that will be still a cracking game. Liverpool are without 5 players for the Ajax game: Matip, Thiago, Van Dijk, Alisson and Oxlade-Chamberlain. But we still will put out a strong team and try to win against Ajax. I think that this siege mentality, us against the world is against us mentality, served Liverpool well in the past, and I feel that the Liverpool players and Jurgen Klopp have something to prove. Everybody is writing Liverpool off right now, that their season is over without Van Dijk. Liverpool will not challenge for the title, we will not challenge for the Champions League, and I think Jurgen Klopp will use exactly that as motivation for himself and his players to prove everybody that Liverpool is good enough to challenge for these trophies and titles. So I really think that Liverpool will come out all guns blazing against Ajax and in the Premier League and just try to prove everybody wrong. What is a concern is that Matip can't play every 3 days. He will have to be rested between games, so he will potentially hopefully play 1 game each week. And I think Joe Gomez and Joe Gomez and Fabinho will play against Ajax, and then we will just take it from there. But we also, I think, we took Nathaniel Phillips and Reece Williams with us to Ajax, so we have some defensive centre-back cover if it's needed. And that's it for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you guys. Goodbye.